Hi, this is MrByZ, and today I'm going to go ahead and take a look, as a part of my series on the large Hasbro vehicles, I'm looking at the Clone Turbo Tank. So here we have the Clone Turbo Tank. This sucker is huge. It has, I actually have a figure in here. This is not the figure that came with it. It is, I seem to remember, it is the Turbo Tank driver, but just to give you the scale of how big this vehicle is with that figure. It has tons of opening compartments. This is back in the day when Hasbro gave us just great stuff like this. So we can open up the front here, and I'll open up this side to get some light in. As you can see, we've got a couple of seats in there, so we can get some drivers, kind of a console and all that. We have these on both sides. And these are missile launchers. So you've got some missiles in there that you can launch off of those buttons right there. You've got a main cargo area here, which serves a couple of purposes. You can obviously put lots of figures on in there. We've got detailing all over the place in there. This turns and turns with the turret on top. And then you've even got spots if you want to open this up and have battle play. Put figures on here. You can even attach like some of the weaponry and stuff right there. We have a firing missile up here, and then we even have a rear compartment. Might be easier to just reach through. There we go. And as you can see, again, you can open these doors. We have foot pegs to put figures on in there. That's kind of a blank wall, kind of boring. But you see we have what looks to be a doorway right there. And then we have the kind of rear cockpit here. So there we go. Sometimes it's fun to remember how all these open. And you see we got a couple little like, I think, yeah, those are kind of gunner stations, I guess. And then we have a full gunner station right here. Not a whole lot of detail on the inside of that. This would fire a missile. I don't have the missile in there. And this makes sounds. We all love sounds, right? So we got a couple buttons here.
The droid army is in full retreat.
Now this was made for Clone Wars. So you get a lot of Clone Wars stuff with it.
You heard the General. Get ready to turn those clankers into scrap metal. Sir, we're taking heavy fire. All units attack. Let's go. This is it. Scrap 'em! The droid army is in full retreat. Fire at will.
I think that's all of those there. Then we have, because of the sound of it moving, when you hit that one, you get lights on the front of this, which is pretty cool. You got all four of those lights turning on. No other lights on this, though. If you press it again, you get it stopping and powering down.
All units, fire at will.
Okay. So you get a couple different things when you press down different things. Hold them down, press them, or just press them and hold them. Now this pops off. So you can kind of remove that. You get a doorway. This is actually where the batteries go. As you can see, you can set some figures and some weapons here. And if you want, you get kind of a little command station, a little mobile command center that you could place out in the battlefield of your diorama should you want to do so. And this has one more feature. It has, I gotta figure this out. It has a big button right here. I'm going to show you what happens when I press this button. Hopefully it works. It didn't work. Okay, you heard it. You know what that is, right? That's a speeder bike. This doesn't want to open very well. Give me a second. Not sure why after all these years, but that door does not want to open very well. It really has to pull, but let's see if I can do it now. Oh, there went the speeder bike. Let me show you the speeder bike here. So it's just kind of got a launch bay with spring loaded back there, so you can, it shoves out the speeder bike and launches it. And we get one of these Revenge of the Sith Clone Wars era speeder bikes inside. They did some of these with like a zip line. Obviously, this one is made to just come out of this, so it doesn't have the zip line. It has freewheeling wheels on it, if you will. Put your figures on that. So it's pretty cool. You kind of get a second vehicle in there. All the wheels on this move. They are just big plastic wheels. They're not rubber like a big Tonka truck or something like that. But it is a pretty darn cool set. You know, one of the nice things about when Hasbro started doing these very large vehicles like this is they weren't just a big vehicle. They were a play set in many ways. And, you know, you saw me pull this out. You can put your gunner or whatever in there. And it's just a tube type of thing. But, you know, you can pop that up and who's ever in there can check it out. And pop it down, that sort of thing. But, you know, I remember when this came out, I wasn't too excited. Obviously, the turbo tank barely appeared in Revenge of the Sith. And this was early on in Clone Wars, and I'll admit, I wasn't the biggest fan of Clone Wars to begin with. The movie soured a lot of us on it. Now, the first couple episodes brought me back in. But this was produced as a Clone Wars item, which was great, because we got this. It fits in with Revenge of the Sith. I've always kept this in my Kashyyyk diorama. But, of course, nowadays, if you wanted to, you could put this in a Rogue One diorama if you wanted to, having Cassian rescue Jyn in here and K2SO standing outside, whatever you want to do, because, of course, this appeared in Rogue One as well now. So it's, like I said, a really cool vehicle. It's so fun looking at these large vehicles, and it makes me hope that things like the sail barge get backed so that we can get that large vehicle, as well as hopefully more in the future, because clearly Hasbro has decided that this type of large vehicle is just not marketable anymore with the rise in the cost of manufacturing over in the Far East rising so much more than when this was produced, that they just can't make them for as cheap anymore. I think that's the biggest deal. It used to be the price of plastic. That's come down quite a bit, but it is the price of labor in their factories and everything has gone up, which is probably a good thing, because that means the people putting this together are hopefully getting paid more than if the price of labor has gone up. As we all know, we've heard the stories about people in those factories not being the best working conditions. So, you know, this is, like I said, it's a really cool vehicle from kind of that, I don't know, golden age of Hasbro, if you will. But if HasLab is successful with this barge, maybe we will continue to get stuff like this. Maybe they will offer some of these older, larger vehicles like this through HasLab. You know, who knows? We'll see. But right now I'm really excited that hopefully that barge happens. You know, we've got another like 20 so days here, and I'm really looking forward to hopefully getting that next year. So that was my look at the Clone Turbo Tank from Clone Wars. Kind of Revenge of the Sith as well. I believe this came out in 2010, if I remember. I'm going to be continuing this series, looking at the larger vehicles like the MTT, the large Millennium Falcon, the big AT-AT, maybe even things like the Slave One or the larger AT-ST as I go. So tune in for those. If you want to make sure that you get to see them all, go ahead and subscribe. And as always, I love getting your comments and questions, so you can go ahead and type those below. Thank you so much for watching.